All right, guys, welcome to Module 5, Base Metal Preparation. All right, when you've completed this module, you should be able to identify safety practices related to preparing base metals and describe basic cleaning procedures. Identify safety practices related to preparing base metals. Describe the basic properties and types of carbon and stainless steel. Describe basic metal cleaning procedures and concerns. Okay. Performance tasks: mechanically or hand grind a bevel on the edge of 1/4 to 3/4 thick mild steel plate, 22.5 degrees. Thermally bevel the edge of 1/4 to 3/4 thick mild steel plate to 22.5 degrees. Okay, welding safety. When preparing work pieces, remember that hot and sharp flying objects are common. Use gloves and both safety glasses and a face shield. Secure workpiece carefully and secure yourself when working at heights. Okay, protective clothing, especially when working overhead, be sure to use the correct PPE when cutting or grinding overhead. A cape should be worn. Be sure flammable materials are out of the potential drop zone for hot materials. Okay, a little review on Lynn shade numbers. Okay, we kind of touched on this tonight. Okay, fire and explosive prevention. Remove lighters and matches from your pockets. Never use oxygen in place of compressed air to blow debris off of clothing. Remove flammables from the work area. Ensure firefighting equipment is on hand. Obtain and comply with hot work permits when applicable. Control the discharge of both oxygen and fuel gases into the atmosphere. Keep work area organized and follow specific practices before cutting vessels or barrels that have contained hazardous or flammable materials. Make sure work area ventilation, make sure confined space procedures are followed when applicable. Cutting and welding operations are best conducted in well-ventilated areas. Use proper respirators when working with materials that can produce toxic fumes. Grinding wheels can also contain hazardous materials. Consult the SDS and MSDS. Never use oxygen in a space for the purpose of ventilation. Use mechanical ventilation equipment when necessary. Okay, properties of steel or ferrous metals. All steels, both carbon and stainless. This includes cast iron, wrought iron, malleable iron, and ductile iron. Properties of steel, non-ferrous metals. Light metals such as aluminum and titanium are non-ferrous. Heavy metals such as copper, nickel, and lead are also non-ferrous, and precious metals like platinum, gold, and silver are also non-ferrous. If we look at ferrous, now I'm going to throw a little chemistry at you. On the periodic table, iron is listed as Fe. It's a Latin word for ferrous, or for iron is ferrous. So non-ferrous metals are metals that do not contain iron. Okay, carbon steel classifications. American Iron and Steel Institute, AISI letter prefixes. So you have A, open heart steel, okay, and then B, acid Bessemer steel. C, basic open hearth steel, carbon steel. D, acid open hearth steel, and E, electrical furnace steel. Okay, so just for an example, carbon steel classification of E2512. Electric furnace steel is what the E stands for. The 25 alloying indicates an alloy containing about 5% nickel, and the 12 indicates a carbon content of roughly 0.12%. Common grades of stainless steel classifications. Austenitic, the largest group of the 3 stainless steel groups and most often encountered by welders. It's hardened by cold working rather than heat treatment. Excellent oxidation and heat resistance. L or R at the end of the grade numbers indicates carbon content. And things that you might see that are made out of austenitic stainless steel. Housewares, industrial piping, and containers. Ferritic stainless steel. Ferritic would be magnetic. will be the only classification of stainless that's magnetic because of the iron that's contained in it. Some hardening by cold working, narrower temperature range for use in austenitic, contains heavy amounts of chromium, 11.5 to 27%. This is used for decorative trim, domestic sinks, and exhaust systems. Okay, so this is something that you might also encounter on your day-to-day. Marstenetic also can be magnetic, hardened by quenching and tempering, not highly corrosion resistant, contains far less chromium than ferritic. Chromium marstenetic may contain up to 18% chromium, however, not considered a true stainless steel. Hey, base metal cleaning. Oxidation appears on most every metal surface, even though it may not be obvious. All weld codes require surface cleaning. So what they mean by oxidation, guys, is just rust. Rust is a compound as iron oxide. So it's a mixture of the iron in the base metal and oxygen. And other metals can also rust. Aluminum will also rust, but it's kind of more of a white, almost white powdery substance. Okay. Porosity is the most common defect caused by surface contamination. So in photo A there, this shows contamination within a weld that's been x-rayed. In photo B, now we have some surface porosity that's visible from the surface. These can both be caused by improper cleaning of the base metals or improper cleaning of the weld between passes. Okay, mechanical cleaning. Power tools are best for a significant amount of cleaning. However, too much material can easily be removed. So a couple just different types of machines here. We have an electric angle grinder, a pneumatic angle grinder, an electric die grinder, and a pneumatic die grinder. In mechanical cleaning, a wide variety of tools and attachments can be used with power tools when preparing workpieces. Always consider contamination when choosing attachments, just like files and wire brushes. Okay, so one thing, we won't be dealing with any aluminum welding in class, but whatever you're using as far as a wire wheel, if you're working on aluminum, it has to be stainless steel. And then any abrasives that you use, you don't want to mix stuff iron to aluminum. It can cause a lot of contamination, cause issues when you're trying to weld aluminum. Some of the attachments shown here, we have a rotary file, die grinder sewn, cup rocks, a flapper wheel, a wire cut brush, a knotted wire wheel, sometimes called a stringer bead brush, an abrasive flap disc, and a raised hub wheel. We use the raised hub wheels in class and also the knotted wire wheels. Hey, chemical cleaners. Acetone, it's highly flammable, colorless liquid, dissolves resins, epoxies, and many plastics. It's an eye irritant that can cause permanent damage. When using acetone, always protect your eyes and use a respirator. MEK or butone, highly flammable, colorless liquid, dissolves gums, resins, vinyl film coatings, and presents a lower health risk than acetone. Okay, here's a few of the trade terms. You guys have a trade terms quiz to take, so I'm just going to kind of click through these. You guys can also review these on the PowerPoints, or maybe even pause these sections and answer your questions real quick, right? All right. So the next session is going to cover section 2 and 3 in the book. All right. Stay tuned for the next PowerPoint, guys.